All right, everybody, welcome to the weekly collective reading. I hope that you're doing great. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. Let's see if Apollo is visible behind me. I can hear him. Yep. Hopefully, everybody's doing great. Really great to be here today. And a lot of information came through, probably because you picked a great topic. Let me just get my side monitor up. But the topic today is what you need to hear. And real talk, meaning basically that we're going to really be focusing on it from a no-nonsense point of view. So thanks for picking a great topic, everyone. It's good to see you. All right, the collective reading, sorry, we're not in the monthly. The collective reading is for everybody present, and we're going to go through a few distinct parts. We'll go into channeled messages first, then I'll take a look at a 7-day forecast, and then we'll get into elements in the special topic. It's pretty jam-packed, but it goes quickly and it flows nicely, so grab a cup of coffee, take a deep breath, and this will be here all week for your reference, so you can always rewatch certain parts if you need to. Let's get straight into channeled messages first and foremost. So I actually took some notes in dreams last night that I want to reference while we're talking. One thing that came through, which I quite like, is that there's, I was shown a wedding or celebration. So to me, this just shows kind of like the Lover's card in tarot, that you have the ability this week to bring people together, to make something happen. It's a celebration of sorts, but it could represent a contract, because I look at it in a sort of higher level or more abstracted form. So finally getting something solidified, finally getting like a handshake and an agreement done. So in business, in social engagements, in life in general, that actually portends good things. This is also a good week for love, because if I'm shown that kind of imagery, it means that you have a great chance to meet new people. So we like that. One of the other things that came through was a chance also to just take a deep breath. We got that card today, the Ten of Swords, but what I was shown, like the two sides of it. One was just relaxing, self-care, but then I also saw literally like a bridge burning. So we want to avoid saying something that could burn a bridge, to take the Ten of Swords energy for today and bring it into the reading. I highlighted it a little bit in the daily card pull, but there is sometimes a tendency with the Ten of Swords, like if you're feeling emotionally triggered and you say something, it just, after you say it, there's this immediate regret. So it's so much better today and this week in general to just sit with something for a moment, at least an hour or so, and just see if you feel the same way after that, and then you can proceed if you do. But if you don't, you're going to be so happy that you planned a little bit, you gave yourself some time. So don't burn any bridges this week. The other thing here was education, and it was very specific. It was like someone wanted to see the certificate or the degree or the proof. So we can look at this in a couple of ways. For those of you that are thinking of going back to school or learning something new, it looks like it's worth it. And in the long run, people might be looking for exactly that, because I'm looking into the distance here. So stick with it, go for it, and don't give up. Even if right now there might be someone in your life that's asking you like, well, why do you want to do that? Because you're thinking of that long-term moment where someone is trying to find the qualifications. Okay, so those are good messages overall, but the main thing today, and it's completely in alignment with what we were talking about in the daily card pull, is less is more. You don't want to overdo it, and you don't want to say something that you regret later. Okay, so we're going to get into a 7-day forecast next. I have 2 decks in front of me. I'm going to let them decide which one to use, because that's something that I do here. So let's see. Which deck should I use for the 7-day forecast? Welcome, everyone. While I'm doing this, just a quick reminder, if you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so. It is free. So we're going to use the animal deck, and there's that pesky Ten of Swords. Again, take care of yourselves today. Okay. Let's take a look at the week ahead, starting with today. This portion is for everybody that's present, so we'll get into sign-specific things in just a moment. Most of what you hear today in this reading is for the collective, just like it says. All right, let's just make sure we can see everything, which we can. All right, we're going to get started with today, Sunday. So easy does it. The 10 of Wands and the 10 of Swords are more closely related than you might think because there is a heavy burden that often comes, you can even see it here, responsibility, with the 10 of Wands. It is both a card of completion, but it can also be a card of overdoing it. With the 10 of Wands, you could pull a muscle. You could also get into, being sick or losing your temper, but it usually then would transform into that. So less is more, delegation is key. And the main encouragement with this card is look how close you are. You're nearly there. You're nearly at the finish line. It's worth the extra effort, but a moment of rest, a day of rest even, isn't going to negate all that you've done. In fact, it may help you get there in a more sort of like easy fashion. So take it easy. Don't let somebody push you into something. Don't push someone else into something either. This card can sometimes be forceful, and so we don't want to force a connection, and it's not fun to be sort of like have someone shaking their finger and saying, you better do this. So easy does it with that, and if there is something that you have taken responsibility for, just do it. It's easier at the end of the day. So that's the main takeaway here. I do think that this is nicely connected to 10 of Swords, and this shows where you can actually transmute it to, which is the 10 of Wands. Know what you need to do, take a step back, complete it at your own pace. You're going to be fine. There actually is another card in that deck that I used for today where the 10 of Swords becomes everything is okay. So we want to get it into that everything is okay or will be okay. Okay, let's move on to Monday. So for Monday, we have the Page of Pentacles or Stones. We have a Lynx coming through. This is where you can make up for lost time since the Lynx is pretty fast, pretty nimble, and can land on its feet. So there's a difference between being still and doing nothing. And I think that rest is underrated, and we see it inaccurately, and we cast it, in a very sort of harsh way as being lazy, and it is not. So self-care and pacing yourself, it is fine, it is necessary, and it helps empower the energy of Monday. Now we have a Lynx, now we see motion, but even a Lynx is going to take steps slowly and find its moment to engage. So Pentacles, we're looking at money, we're looking at schedules, time, investments. This is a moment to be strategic. And when we're looking at any of the hunting cats, they are definitely strategic. And they don't just pounce in without knowing how, when, or why to do it. So take your time and look at the data. Make sure that everything makes sense. And if something doesn't, get your paws or your hands on that and make sure that you understand what you need, how this is going to work, etc. Okay? I do think that there may be, for some of you, also an offer or some information coming through with respect to like a job or an opportunity. It's a great day to send out an application. We see movement when it comes to money and resources, and that's a good thing. All right, moving on to Tuesday. A great energy for Tuesday. 2 of Wands, but it is in the reverse position. And so this card reads decision. I don't really normally read the 2 of Wands as a decision card. I think what it might be is it's clarity in what you want to do, because this is a complement to the manifestation card like High Priestess. When your vision is clear, when you've decided I want it, then the High Priestess can marry up with this and help make it happen. So I think that's why they chose that. I actually see this more as a imagining, envisioning, and sort of projecting sort of card, but we'll honor this person's decision to put decision there as well, which is when it's clear, the path opens up. The card usually has someone looking at a globe or a crystal ball, and there is this opportunity with 2 of Wands to see, this is where I want it to be, but here's where it's actually at. How do we bridge the distance? And that's perhaps why the bridge came through in my dreams, and this is kind of burning. So one thing that you want to do is decide to move with a sense of premeditation and clarity, and make sure that everything makes sense as you're doing that. All right. Apollo, I was just checking in on our little co-host in the background. For a second, he was chewing the rug. If he keeps doing that, I'll give him a little snack because he might still be hungry. All right, he's fine. Let's move back into the forecast to Wednesday. All right, moving on to Wednesday, we have the Eight of Pentacles and the card is reversed. So revise, edit, review, ask for help if you want to. On the wall of the cave in the background, you'll see there's a little handprint. Helping hand is available, but sometimes needs to be accessed. So there are certain things that are out of our acumen or expertise. So I'm not a lawyer. If I need legal advice, I'll work with a lawyer. Even though I'm good at writing and speaking, you sometimes need an external editor to make sure that your own sort of like bias is not, getting in the way of good words being on the page. So work with an expert if needed. This is the learning card, Wednesday. Great day to train yourself, start something new if it's classes or anything of that nature. It's a great day to absorb new things. You can think of this as like a sponge. So it's learning, training, and editing. Those are the main things that I'm kind of getting for the midweek. And again, we were looking at Wednesday. This could also just be a really great day to get things into writing. If there's something that, you've just kind of like spoken and shaken hands on, but you haven't gotten the contractual form, this is the day to get it all in writing, okay? Moving on to Thursday, fantastic, Ace of Pentacles. In this one, it says the foundation of life. It's a beginning, basically, inception, conception, beginning, birthing. So Spirit is also coming through and saying, what do you want to do to make it happen? What are you doing to bring it from the ideation stage into something tangible? We're looking at Earth here, which is actually physical plane. So this is a day to show up. And I do see like shaking of hands too, but like bring that person, bring that promise, bring that energy into being. Another opportunity to look at the money in a situation. You have a good chance of getting what you want. Aces can be an offering. They can be receiving. They can also be a request. Particularly when we're looking at Pentacles, the normal Rider-Waite-Smith card would have a hand holding this. So the only thing that's kind of interesting is that we have a stone here. So someone may be in alignment with what you want. Like you both want the same things, but they have a hard time. I'm getting like a little bit of they're cheap or they're cautious when it comes to taking the coin out of the coin person giving it to you, literally like that. So that's what I'm being seen, almost like Six of Pentacles energy. So you'll have to assuage concerns from an investor, for instance, or just from another person that's like, is this worth my time? Reiterate why it's worth their time too, what they get out of it. And that's going to help you get what you need and seal the deal, okay? It is a great day for new ideas to come forth. It's a great day to start something. Overall, an ace is what you make of it, so I like that. Okay, moving forward to Friday. Queen of Wands, the hair, the big ears up in the air. So you could get inspiration, not just from your own ideas, but by listening, observing, and participating in things that are fun. So listening to another person speak. The coursework that we were talking about here, learning something new, that's, if I think back to college or just even now as I'm taking some lessons with someone for language, like it's really cool to hear someone else break it down. This is how it works and draw connections. So listening, watching, and absorbing, taking that Eight of Pentacles to the next level and then deciding, this is inspiring. What's my take on it? How can I make this my own? Because most artwork is derivative, but what makes it artistic and yours is your interpretation or portrayal of something, and you're rearranging it in a new form, and that's what the Queen of Wands can do. This is a great day to step into boss energy. Typically, this is leadership, second only to like the Emperor, the Empress. And because it is a rabbit, we're also seeing the ability for things to move quickly. So when you start something, because this is more about action than speech. Queen of Swords would be speech. Queen of Wands is more about setting something into motion. Once you set it into motion, there is a newfound momentum. So this is a great day to initiate something and to step into a leadership position. Okay, as we take a look at the weekend, next Saturday, we have a Three of Cups energy coming through. And it basically is encouraging you to get out of your hermit phase, to mix, to mingle, to connect with others. It's also about celebrating life's little victories. Sometimes we are so focused on, I have to do this and I have to do that, that you're not taking time to kind of drink it all in. And this is definitely, it's what we're working so hard for, to spend time with friends, to spend time with our loved ones, to have a good time. So have some fun next Saturday. There may be new love or opportunity that's knocking, and it comes when you are least expecting it. And again, just kind of hanging out with other people. So for those that might be trying to find a job or trying to find a love interest, rather than looking online, this is really about making sure that you're out in the real world, connecting with real people in real time. And you could go to a movie, you could go hiking. You don't have to actually pay money or organize it too much. It can just be a random connection. But definitely friends and friends of friends could start to open up some of those connections, and Saturday is a great day to focus on that. All right, finally, a week from today, we have Archer energy coming forth, reminding you again that it's going to be very important to target and focus on what matters most, that you are the agent of and vehicle of change in your own life. And you're really best suited to make something happen. But back to the focus, back to the decision energy, this is the time to get very clear that I want this. This is how I want this. This is when I want it. So it's a moment to plan. And planning isn't always fun. We sometimes like to just fake it till you make it. But this is, a week from today is not a time to kind of fly by the seat of your pants. Really get strategic and only move forward if it makes sense for you. Quickly, let's look at some highlights and challenges in the week ahead, and then we shall move on to the next portion of the reading. So I think that the highlights for this week, I'm really feeling good about actually the center of the week is magical. You'll get some ideas around Tuesday. I feel like you might need to put it onto paper, but by the time Thursday comes through, it's fantastic. I think one of the easiest days is next Saturday. Challenges today. We got it in the daily. We're seeing it also as we see the work that you've already done. That's how this reading hits, because I read that yesterday. The energy's changed. This is where we're at today. It still feels a little heavy, so lightening the load is the main challenge for today. The rest of the week is pretty manageable. Focusing, I think next Sunday is going to be challenging. I'll be back here to help you, but it's the 2 Sundays that are the most challenging. The rest of the week is great. Even Monday is fantastic. So there you go on that portion. Now let's move on to the elements. This is the only piece that is going to be specific to certain signs. So just getting everything organized while I am. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate it. It helps. Okay, so let me select a deck for this. Let's see, maybe the crows? Maybe the crows. All right. Fire, earth, air, and water. Okay, let's begin with fire signs. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. You have a protective Four of Pentacles coming through. So the Four of Pentacles often appears when we're holding back a little bit, and it could be a form of self-protection. Typically, there's just one coin over the heart, but we have like the 2 coins in this illustration. But the person holds on really tight to what's familiar, to what's predictable, because it's safe, but it isn't expansive. It isn't helping them get forward. So the first message this week is don't be afraid to put yourself out there. You're underestimating or selling yourself short of your potential, and you got to give it a shot. So speak up, put yourself out of your comfort zone. It'll pay off. There could be people around you that want to take as much as possible without rewarding you in the way that you deserve. So in other words, don't overwork if somebody isn't going to compensate, celebrate, connect with you in the way that feels right for you. It isn't always about the money, but at the end of the day, if you're not getting enough, this card indicates that you have to put a line in the sand somewhere, so strong boundaries. And if you need more, then you need to pay more. And there is a very simple sort of logical approach with this. When it comes to your overall spending habits, lean into the conservative energy here. Get a little bit more organized and practical when it comes to how much you're extending yourself and where you're putting your time and energy. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Well, I call it the devil you know because sometimes you stick with a person or an activity beyond its function or its support of you. So really look at the give and take. If you're giving all the time and you're not receiving, if someone's always taking but never giving, that's the red flag, that's the wake-up call, and that's when you say enough is enough. But this is a foundational energy, and it is a survivor card. So it shows that you can make do with far less than other people, but we don't want that to be the sort of like stuck energy. So that's why advocating for more, having good boundaries, and putting yourself out there is going to help you break through that, okay? And just don't hold back. When it comes to creative ideas, intuitive ideas, there's a lot more potential and energy than you're giving yourself credit for. Okay. Let's move on to the earth signs. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. This is really interesting. I like it. Okay, so this is the Six of Wands. No, I'm sorry, this is the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands, but I was thinking of the Six of Wands because they remind me of lemmings, and a leader is not going to just follow everyone else. So we're pulling a little bit of the energy of the Six of Wands, which is leadership. And then with the Seven of Wands, let stuff fall away that, like, because this is typically a defensive stance. Let me pull the traditional card for a second. You'll see someone like this. So people are going to, everyone has an opinion, right? You do not need to worry about all of that because it's ultimately, it's exhausting. And there's a phrase like, it's none of my business what you think, because I'm just going to let it fall away like rain. And that's what I'm kind of looking at this being here. So here's your traditional Seven of Wands. And there's this feeling like you've got to push back. This person's like, waste your time and energy if you want. I'm not going to fall for that. And you're just wasting your own energy. So I like the relaxed state that this particular card has versus this one where the person seems a little bit more worked up. So be calm, let other people spin their wheels. You don't have to spin your wheels, okay? What I like about the Seven of Wands is that we can assume that what's going on in your life right now is that you've just achieved some success and there might be a little bit more scrutiny that is happening. And with that scrutiny, you can't get into your head space. You have to continue to lead by example and know that it's going to be okay. All right? Work smarter, not harder. Have boundaries. And lead, don't follow. Even though this isn't the Six of Wands, that was the initial thought that came to mind, so I want to marry that up with it as well. Okay? You can manage anything that comes your way. That's the cool thing with this. Even if it feels a little overwhelming in the moment, ultimately, this is a card of survival and defense. So if there's something that you need to stand up for yourself, this is a week to do that. There's a time to fight the fight, and the Seven of Wands is definitely that moment, okay? Alrighty, let's, actually I don't need to go down to the table. Let's move on from earth to air. And for air signs, there are choices at hand. So let's take a look at the choices. We have the Two of Pentacles coming through, and you can't be everywhere at once. You can't be everything to everyone. And when you decide, since we had that decision energy coming through around Tuesday, right? When you decide, and this is more the decision card, then you actually are able to take the ace, which we got later in the week, and make an impact. Otherwise, you're doing everything half-hearted. You're only putting half of the energy into it, half of the passion into it. I could have thought of other words, but half-hearted. So do 100%. Let something else delegate, because that's what the Seven of Wands that we just talked about is about. So you can delegate, you can decline, you can ignore, but then you choose one thing. And when you choose, that's when your power comes. This is a card of creating balance. So work-life balance, whatever might be missing, you're going to have to, if you ever watch someone juggling, they're not holding on to everything at once. There's usually one item in their hand and at least one or two in the air. So you don't need to have everything as your main focus right now. Some of the things might have to be pushed up to a different date or time. So juggling things accordingly and focusing on each day, because sometimes you might say, well, this is my focus today. Prioritization, a bullet list. So put the priorities in place, and then when you get a chance, you can grab one of those other, sort of things that you're juggling in the air and make it work. But you can do it. Choices, boundaries, and again, clarity. This is what I choose to check off today. All right, moving on to water. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. We have the Queen of Pentacles coming through, one of the more empowered cards this week. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And know that you have a chance to nurture, to bring something to the next level. People might be seeking out your advice, your support. All of the boundary issues that I've been talking about with the other elements also nicely file in with you as well. In the corner, we have that cute little rabbit. So that shows, again, the ability for things to be fertile, abundant, to multiply. And we love that that's connected with this. This one also has a little butterfly. So if you're trying to set forth some change this week, you can also do that. But loving what I'm seeing here, and it feels like you are nicely aligned for leadership, for more stability, maybe than the rest of the elements that we've looked at, and a chance to really see something come to fruition. So fantastic week, particularly in business, for all of the water signs. Go for it, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. A lot of Pentacles this week if I was looking at all of them together, because we have the Four of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, the Queen. It was only, let's see, Fire, Earth was the only one. Still, you're doing a lot. So it seems like it's going to be a very busy week ahead. Pacing yourself, like we had been talking about, I think is going to be super important in this moment in time. Okay. You asked for it, so we're going to a special topic, what you need to know. So let me get everything set up here. Let's see, I want to maybe approach it differently. I really have enjoyed, by the way, a little bit of sort of like house cleaning here. This week we'll be caught up. We'll have a month and then a month ahead. And then I might do that one more time to get us way ahead so that I can breathe and we can do other types of videos. But it's been fun to do a different type of spread. So I'll see if I'm inspired. I don't think we're going to do the expanded forecast in this. I'm going to leave room for that. But I might do a traditional Celtic initially, and then we're going to move beyond that for other questions and other thoughts. So because it's nice to look around a little bit, or I'll just do I know most of you want to look at money and things like that, but I want freedom this time, so I might try something different. All right, let me get started here and see which deck I want to use. I may do the Modern Witch because it's very easy to interpret. Let's see here. We might use a couple for today as well. So I'm going to pull one card each and see which deck is resonating with the topic. Actually, I think this one's going to win. So we are going to do that one, I believe. There's really no way I can beat two, but I'm just curious what this one says. Yep, okay. I'll keep this to the side and use it for other stuff. So we already have our first two cards for the Celtic. Take a moment, please, to tune in if you haven't already done so. Take a deep breath. Let go of anything that you might be holding on to as you exhale. Trace a circle of light around your body. Welcome in angel, spirit guides, ascended masters. Let's set the intention today to receive whatever you need to know. Not what you want to know, but what you need to know. And let's deliver it with clarity and kindness, but also no nonsense. It's been a minute since I used this deck. I have to go with a bunch of my decks and edit them out because of YouTube's sensitivity on certain cards. So I have to put little stickies on it. So I was like, I missed this. We need to pull it back into rotation. Okay, let's go ahead and do a catalyst on this as well. That is one thing that I do like to keep no matter what. All right. Let's begin with this. So the first message, we have the visionary card in reverse. So there's a couple ways to interpret this. One is that there is this nostalgic lens with which you are viewing the world right now. Instead of looking at the now and the next, you're looking at the coulda, shoulda, woulda, or the past. I said it in today's daily. We can be informed and educated by the past, but we can't live in it. All we can focus on is what we can do with today and how we can make tomorrow better. It's good to have memories. That's a good thing. And remember those who are no longer here and the good times. But when it comes to the bad times, we don't want to brush them under the rug, rather. But we instead need to kind of focus on now what and how do I want to deal with this. So the vision's blocked a bit because there's something either where you're beating yourself up or you're living too much in the past. And so the guides are saying, here and now, this is the focus for today. And what's next? That Two of Wands decision card that made an appearance. When you know what you want, then the universe can come forth and provide with greater ease. Again, it reminds me of a Bengal song, If She Knew What She Wants. So the same sort of energy here. The universe just wants to know, what do you want? All right. At the center of the spread, we have Queen of Wands coming through once again, this time in the more traditional illustration sense. So that cat is front and forward, and this is about your instincts. So the first kind of tough love or real talk message from the guides is, you already know. You know what you need to do. Why haven't you started to do it yet? And again, with great love, but I am going to be firmer in the delivery of messages because you chose real talk. So the real way to look at this is, you already know. Let's get started. The other thing here is to step into this with a sense of confidence and passion. So the guides would love for you to practice, because practice makes perfect. Practice your speaking skills, practice just delivery. It's actually more about how it sounds and how you hold yourself when it comes to communication with Queen of Wands than the words that are said. Words are powerful, but the delivery is what makes it amazing. And this is the difference between, like, if you watch a singer that just sings and goes through the motions, or someone that interprets it and leaves you like gut-wrenched at the end. There are some people that just know how to access their feelings and push it into it. And that's it. It's the delivery. And that's beyond the words. It is the passion. And that is what the Queen of Wands can do. So forget about perfect. Lean into passion. Don't overthink. Lean into instinct. And then lead, don't follow. That's the sunflower. Because sunflowers follow, but she's holding it. She's like, no, I'm setting the tone here and you're going to follow. That's what she believes. She doesn't have to say that, but she embodies that energy of leadership. So you've got this. You have to believe that you've got this in order for it to work. Magic really only works if you believe. That's a line from Practical Magic, but it's a good one. Her love interest says that. But yes, and I believe that too. It's less effective. Magic can work no matter what. I would edit that, but it's less effective if you don't believe in it. Okay, I think he was talking about curses, and that's different. But like in general, you need to lean into the belief for it to really kind of like have an impact. All right, it's follow through. Now that we've worked on the confidence building and the sort of understanding that you're the one to make it happen, the page is showing up. So what are you going to do this week to show up? And do you believe in what it is that you're putting out into the world? So we just talked about self-confidence, but let's say you're trying to sell a product, service, or something like that. If you don't believe in that, I'm not going to believe in it either. So we really need to focus on self-confidence and then connection to what it is that you're doing. Do you feel it? Now, we can apply that to all aspects of your life. Do you feel the connection in the relationship? Great, it's going to be fine. If you don't, you got to focus on that spark. And there has to be equal give and take like we talked about in some of the elements. Do you feel connected to what you're doing for a living? Because if the passion isn't there, why are other people going to care? That was the difference between people that phone it in when it comes to, again, singing, for instance, versus someone who maybe is a singer-songwriter and feels every single letter and bar and measure of their song. So the more you can feel and connect with it, the more I can too, and the more everyone else will. And this is also about getting very much in the weeds of budget, time, and money. Resources came through this reading, so it's important to get clarity on that. Okay? All right. Focus and faith. That's the magician when reversed. You might be lacking one or both. You have everything you need, but you're lacking focus or faith. The focus is the easier part to get. So if you're in a distracting environment, put on some noise-canceling headphones. If you have too many things on your plate, we were talking about the juggling, I think for the air signs, put something to the side. So that's something that you can control, environment or how many things you're juggling. The faith or the hope or the belief, this is a common theme for the week ahead. And this is something that you have to look at in all the different aspects. I feel like for some of you, it's an old program. It's an old program that mom or dad or teacher or society has put into your memory system. And what we need to do is reboot or erase or upgrade. And so the upgrade here is that you have the power, like He-Man and She-Ra. You have the power, it's always there, but they have to say it. She-Ra, it's for the honor of Grayskull. But He-Man, he says, I have the power. Those are the actual words, the incantation. And he takes his sword, like the ace or the king of swords, and then connects with the power. The magician pulls from heaven and brings it to earth, as above, so below. So there is this sort of reaching up and saying, I've always had the power, but today I choose to use it. That's your mantra, by the way. There you go. Take it, use it. That's what the guides just gave you. You've always had the power. Today you believe it. Today you can use it. Today is when things get exciting. Okay? But you got to focus and believe. I can't make you believe. Only you can believe. And there is something to saying it to yourself. Be the superhero that you are. Now we have the moon card here in the recent past. And there are still going to be people that may try to block the way. We have at least 3 blocks here. This is, usually it's a dog and a wolf, but here we have people wearing the masks of those 2 animals. So the dog is domesticated, is trained, has expectations. As humans that are in, organized societies, we have rules that we have to abide by. We have expectations. The wolf is instinct only. And often those 2 things are in conflict. So the key is the road in the middle, right? And so today, if you can pick that middle road, that's going to lead to more success, more general success for you. The other thing with this, I was just looking at the replay here, and yes, it was reversed. The other thing here with this is the understanding that it's your path and your path alone. So nobody can make you go in any direction that you don't want to go. So this is really encouraging you to pick a path and go to that as well. From the water, we usually have a lobster, but here we have the shadow self. And so sometimes that is a fear or anxiety. So we need to deal with the anxiety. We have to find a happy medium between expectations and instinct. And that's going to help navigate us down the path leading to the moon itself, which is intuition and power. So those are the blocks. And so you may have one or more of those in your own life. And once you remedy those, then things start to clarify. We have the Wheel of Fortune in the upright position in the crowning part of the Celtic cross. So many of us are thinking about value, money, and even just sort of like, it is about, will I have enough? So worth, self-worth, finances. It makes sense. It's a strange world right now. We have to acknowledge that. I don't read in a vacuum. This is a strange place right now, particularly for people here in the States. It's a strange time. So we're looking at uncertainty, and I think it's really good to take a look. This is a lot like the world card because many times you'll see 4 elements, like there's 4 seasons on the world. So you're setting into motion something that will possibly take you into the next year. I want you to start looking at the long game, not just right now. It is important to take care of yourself now and in this moment, but also in the year ahead. So we need to start looking further out and getting strategic with our money. The guides want me to be real. Budget. Think ahead. Save for a rainy day. Save for uncertainty. Because goodness knows 2025 has been a sea of uncertainty, ups and downs, back and forth. So the more you have in a padding and a safety net, the easier you can travel through uncertain times. And that's the big takeaway there. Do you like the direction in which you're headed? If not, this represents it is called a wheel. I like to think of it as basically taking the helm of a ship and deciding, am I going to steer this way or this way? And the ship metaphor is very helpful because a ship does not react in the same. And think of like a cruise liner, a really big ship. It will not move as quickly as a car, a bike, or any other sort of vehicle. So if you start cranking that sort of like wheel, it's going to take a month or 2 or 3 to fully move your sort of ship of life in that direction. It begins today with the thought, it continues tomorrow with the action, and then these things kind of add up like dominoes and eventually will bring you where you want. But immediate gratification, that is not going to help you. We have to get strategic. I know I'm looking at a week, but we're helping you with the strategy here that it may take months or a year to fully take you to where you want to be. Okay? All right. Okay. Justice is about as real as it gets when it's reversed. Something doesn't add up, and it's okay to say no. You may decide to end a relationship, end a job, move, sever ties, put that line in the sand. Justice reversed is that, saying this doesn't gel with me, this doesn't work for me anymore. No. She's also fiercely ready to fight for what matters. Not only does this not work, but maybe I'm going to take action because that is not correct. Justice wants what's right. So if there's an inequity or an injustice, justice comes through to remedy that. So you either stay and fight or go somewhere where the balance is right, depending on what's at stake, depending on your own resources, your own time, your own desire. But you already know what you don't like because that was this. And if we look at this as a triptych, a fancy word for 3 cards, you can tell a lot with the 3 center cards, past, present, near future. So right now, your inner knowing is being blocked by what's expected. It's being blocked by nostalgia, because we talked about that over here. It's being blocked by not listening to your instinct, because this is instinct and this is instinct. Got to listen to your instincts. Maybe you're focusing more on the bottom line than the instincts, but it won't balance out. Sometimes it's not enough. The money isn't enough, and you have to fight for something bigger or something more. Okay? You have 2 empowered cards. Now we're working towards, this is the believing and this is the focus. Now we actually can manifest. You've got what it takes because you have the High Priestess. Look at her with her little laptop there. I do like modern decks because it's fun to see how they interpret that. So she's putting it into motion. She's sitting there and saying, all right, I'm going to make this business plan. I'm going to set this itinerary. I'm going to book this trip because I see what the next step is beyond this. She's action-oriented. She also might be creating something that doesn't exist. I'm dreaming it up. I need to record this. I need to put this together, and then I'm going to use that to set sail in a new direction. So she's action-oriented. She's putting thoughts into the reality, and she's nobody's fool. The High Priestess sees beyond all the veils. So I really want you, the guides really want you, to focus in this moment on seeing people and things and life as it truly is. Because if you think to yourself sometimes, like, how did I get into that? There are a few things coming into my mind right now for the collective. Sometimes it is because you've never experienced a setback or something like that, and there's a sense of naivete or optimism. So once you've experienced it, you're wiser. But you can see it before it happens, even if you haven't. So look at the warning signs along the way. People will often show a tell, or they'll literally tell you who they are or what they think. Believe them when they say it. Believe things when they're actually communicated or shown to you. Disbelief is the thorn in the side of the High Priestess because she already knows it on some level. I really encourage you to trust your knowing. There's someone around you that could be gaslighting you. This can also be the inner saboteur. 5 of Swords is a little bit of both. The inner saboteur portion is you're not experienced enough to do this, or don't listen to that, it's not important, or it's all these little can't, won't, never sort of things that come from what's around us. It's not the truth. It's an echo of a fear or a bias or prejudice around you. Legitimately, it can also just be someone around you who likes to poke and see if they can get a rise out of you. Also, who might be gaslighting you and just not wanting you to go forward. It's bad communication, no matter whether it's internal or environmental. And I should just say it's inaccurate, because when it's someone else, they typically they're feeding off the energy. They want to get a rise out of you, or they want to deflate you. That poking energy is what I keep seeing. So if it's a balloon, they want to deflate you. Or they don't have anything better to do, so they're poking at you to get energy. So don't feed the energy. That's one way to cut that out. And Lady Justice is coming in and just saying, enough. Interestingly enough, communicating boundaries doesn't always work with Five of Swords. They want to hear stop it. Sometimes just walking away is good enough. Or going a level up and having someone else deal with it. It's not your direct problem. They're not worth the time and energy. So pick and choose your battles. This isn't it. If it is an internal thought, then what you just do is turn it into a positive question. I can't do it. Why can't I do it? How can I do it? When will I do it? We talked about it earlier this week. A lot of what I'm seeing here came through in daily reads. So that's an echo of something that we talked about throughout the week. If you don't look at my dailies, you should. It's under the Shorts tab. I give a little pulse check for every single day. I know that sometimes I have different audiences for monthly and weekly and daily, but the dailies are good. 1 minute, 2 minutes, you get a lot. All right, if I can hold that card up. The Ace of Wands may be a little bit hard to hold on to. So this is like a baton being passed to you. I like to, for those of you that have ever run track and field in a relay race in particular, or you've watched it on the Olympics or whatever, you know that each person has to run their leg of the race and then they hand it off. So there are a couple of things that are required in this. And I say that because there's a lot of action here and there's a lot of different people involved. You can do your part, but if other people aren't doing their part, there's only so much you can do. Do your part, and then if you have to step into the leadership role, you can, but the first and the most important thing is to make sure you're doing your part. This can also be reaching for something. I want this. I'm ready for this. And it's an idea. It's a beginning. It may not even exist yet. So the High Priestess helps you design something that might not be out there. If you don't see it, very entrepreneurial this week, and ostensibly the weeks that follow, because I'm looking at even beyond a week here. So reach for something if you want it. Do your part of the race if you need to. And then the rest of this is generating or taking time to incubate an idea. We have Ace of Wands underneath this. There's a lot going on. There's only so much you can do. This is why for the air signs, I think it was, we had the Two of Pentacles. We had the Seven of Wands for someone else. So like, depending on which element and which sign you were, I really do think that management of time and energy is so important this week, because you can get this done and a lot more as long as you stay focused. And the Magician can sometimes just be focused in that respect too. This is in hopes, fears, and opportunities. There's nothing bad in hopes, fears, and opportunities, except maybe missing all of this because you're razor focused on one little tiny detail. So I do want you to be focused, but I also want you to take a moment to look around at what else is going on, because that can inform your next move. The outcome is a question of passion and connection once more. So we have an Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is in reverse. Something doesn't fulfill your desires perhaps anymore. There could be something where it's just like, again, this isn't enough, or this isn't what I want. As you get older, you have to decide only you can fix this. Only you can turn the ship in a new direction. So there's an encouragement here to listen to that. Take care of yourself this week. If there's something that you need to talk through or get off your, let go of, because I know some people had the Ten of Wands, and the Ten of Wands is overwhelming. So if that, or we actually, I think we all got it for today. That's right. If you feel that energy of feeling overwhelmed, lean on the support of someone else today and whenever you need to this week. There could be a happy surprise. You have to open your heart to receive it, though. So the flip side of this is love or opportunity might be knocking, but if you're not open, it can only go so far. Okay? That was great. Okay, so now let's just do in the flow for a little bit. I might leave the deck as is right now, and then let's see. I think I'm going to work with some oracle cards. So let's move this to the side, and let me see how I want to handle this. So it's what you need to know. We could just, I'm not going to drill down. I might hit on, I feel like we've dealt with wealth a lot, but let's look at health for a moment and see if there's a message with respect to health. I'm going to use some different oracle cards for this. And then if I go into love or relationships, we're just going to pull a single card. I'm not going to do as deep a dive because I want time and energy to look at other things. All right, so a message for health. And let's see, I'll pull up the specific health subcategory on this one. All right, for health, we have the butterfly coming through, transformation, beauty, and hope. So change is your best friend right now. There may be a habit that you're stuck in that no longer serves you. This card is encouraging you to get out of that habit. This also has to do with needing to get out of a confinement because there is a chrysalis or a cocoon that butterflies and moths have to escape. So getting out of the house, getting out of your work schedule, getting out of a routine, something that could be suffocating. It served you, it helped you change, but you've outgrown something in your life. The sooner you allow yourself to step into the new, the better. The hope piece is nicely connected to the magician. Like I said, focus and hope or belief are definitely a part of this. And change can be beautiful. It can be different, but it can also be very, very beautiful. So it's time to change up your routine. For those of you that exercise a lot, you know that. If you do the same exercise every day, your body doesn't react. But if you change it up and alternate different parts of your body, it works. You need variety in your diet. You need variety in life. And so changing it up, that's the main takeaway. And that's all we're going to hit on for health. Like I said, we're just going to do high-level messages here. I feel like we got a lot for wealth, but I'm just going to pull a single card on this one as well, maybe using the same deck. So what message do we need for wealth? Truth, influence, and communication. Say it like it is. We're doing real talk after all. So interestingly enough, we have like a parrot of sorts here. And parrots they're not speaking originally. They mimic. They parrot what someone else is saying. So we want the opposite of that. I mentioned that everything is kind of derivative, but what makes it unique is when you interpret it in your own way. So when we're looking at wealth, the thing that brings value is the approach, the uniqueness that you intrinsically have. So I would encourage you to be unique in that way. People only know if you communicate, and the Four of Pentacles that came through for the first element, if you hold back, no one will truly know. So the parrot is not just about parroting, it's also about using its voice. So it definitely, of all the birds, uses its voice, and it can do all kinds of things that other birds can't. So speak up, show people all the different things that you can do. And just in general, the communication, truth in communication. This is what is differentiating everything here. It's the justice card. So no nonsense. If someone says something that is not correct, correct them. If it's a business context, say, actually, if you review the contract, we agreed to this. Do you want to cover that? Do you have any questions about that? You can quickly and directly deal with it without embarrassing them. Or just say, oh, maybe you missed it. Let's go to page 34, subparagraph. Bring the information, bring the receipts. Bring the receipts and show the receipt and say, are we seeing the same thing? Am I missing something? Don't even say that. Just say, are you missing something? Put yourself in that position of power and call out an injustice if need be. For everyone else, too, and I'm just hitting it broadly because this could touch every single element of wealth. If there's something that you need, speak up, negotiate, communicate. If there's something that's missing, highlight, circle, call attention to it. Justice is not going to sit quiet. Justice is not going to be subtle. Justice will use the receipts to help. Keep your receipts, literally and figuratively speaking. Let's go to love and relationships. I may do something like this for the rest of the signs that I have to do. One card is enough. All right. Well, this is a good card. So for love and relationships, we have passion, pride, and desirability. The pride piece, let's focus on that with the peacock. The biggest challenge in existing relationships is pride. Even in trying to find someone new, it might be that you're too proud to ask or whatever. Put yourself out there. Pride is not sexy. There's a point where it's good to be proud of who you are, but not to the point that you are unwilling or unable to take accountability or put your heart out there. So we want to pull back on the pride piece. Now, for everyone that's celebrating Pride this month, that's fine. That's a separate thing. It's good to be proud of who you are. But again, we want to be aware of what's going on. Passion. If you're not feeling it, don't do it. It needs to be there. But the peacock is also indicative of that. Divine masculine energy coming through, taking the initiative, even if you don't normally take the initiative. Desirability. I honestly think that the biggest part of this, the peacock feels sexy, right? It's showing all of its true colors and it's saying, take me or leave me. Let's leave it at that too. It's sort of like you don't have to convince someone. I think that people that know that they're sexy are sexy. Not like in a way that there's ego. It's just like a sense of confidence and ease with themselves. And it is just like, take me or leave me. And rather than putting in too much effort or feeling too much insecurity, someone with a good sense of humor, someone who has a smile, has a laugh, is engaging, gives you a hug. Like there's an opening energy that's part of that. So that's what's going to make the connection. It's not perfection. It's feeling good and projecting that goodness that you feel to the other person, and then they're part of that. And then someone that may not be traditionally as attractive becomes far more attractive because they're smart, because they're intelligent, because they're fun, because they feel beautiful. And you're like, yeah, they're beautiful. You can see the beauty that they embody. So beauty is beyond this. It is so much deeper. And so you have to feel the beauty. And it sounds like something that is right out of a book, but that's what I'm getting from this card is beauty comes from within. And I can think of people that have become less beautiful when I've gotten to know them because they have an ugly personality or ugly belief system, or they treat people poorly. And I'm like, I don't like this person. They may be attractive, but they're not beautiful. So there can be someone who is not traditionally beautiful, but is beautiful. So go beneath the surface. Something could surprise you with someone. It may not be your typical type, but it's going to there'll be the spark, but there's something beyond that that is going to intensify that. So that's what I'm picking up on there. It's below the surface that matters most. That's actually the moon card too. You have to pay attention to the stuff within. Okay. Now we can go beyond all of this. I'm going to just clear the table, and if anybody is going through anything, put it in chat. I'll see if something catches my eye. I'm not necessarily taking questions. I'm just paying attention to chat. But I'm going to go in the flow here for a couple of cards and see what else wants to come through. Okay? All right. I'm also going to take a look at this week in a way that I normally wouldn't. I want to look at, first things first, let's go straight to the topic. I feel like we've covered it in every single card that I've pulled, but is there something you're missing in this moment in time? What are you potentially missing in your life? Okay, so I feel like this was addressed. So the routine. What about the routine needs to be changed or moved around? Okay, so we have the Five of Pentacles coming through to clarify this. Let's talk. So routines are nice. Routines are predictable. Routines are limiting. If you always go to the same coffee shop, the same grocery store, take the same route home or to work or whatever, you don't know what's beyond that. So routines can create a lack of knowing. I don't want to use the word ignorance, but they can. We're ignorant to what's beyond it, right? So when you divert from that path and explore knowledge, experience, change, that metamorphosis that we saw over here starts to come through. So we have to break free from the familiar to transform. Five of Pentacles gives us one of the methods to do that. And for many of us, that is reaching beyond I can't, I won't, I'll never, into what's possible. Outside looking in. So I also get a feeling of just putting yourself in a situation and not feeling like you're so worried about what someone thinks. Not being afraid to also reach out and say, hey, do you want to hang out? Because this usually has shelter or an opportunity or something behind it, but the two people in front never reach for it. So one of the things that you can do is reach out and say, I'd like to do this. Would you like to join? Initiating things, okay? All right, let me quickly look at chat and see what some of you are going through. I'm glad that many of you feel the same need to break the routine. I'm there with you. I like that one of you was talking about getting out of your own way. That's a great question. So I might go with that, and then I'll take a look at some of the other things that you're dealing with. Okay, so what a great question. How can you get out of your own way? What is it that you're doing right now that is limiting? Okay. Because we're here to help inform and clarify. So let's see, which deck do I want to use for this? I'm going to use this one. What can you do to get out of this maybe lack of direction? Okay, it can be more fun than you think. So one of the things here is picking a clear direction and sticking to it. So for some of us, we're waiting for someone to point and say, do this. That's one thing when I look back at like college or school or even just childhood, you always had someone else dictating your schedule for you, and it doesn't necessarily prepare you for adulthood where you have to direct yourself. So trust in your own vision and be willing also to change direction. Maybe you tried something and like, this isn't working. I think I want to shift in this direction. So a little bit of both. Pick a direction and change if needed. The Page of Wands here in reverse is also about overthinking. And we want to lean into the Magician and the High Priestess energy that came forth in the general Celtic cross and have a little bit of fun. I'm looking at this animal and it's just kind of tiptoeing around, dancing around. And I feel like it can be fun to try new things if we give ourselves a chance to do so. Don't overthink. It should just flow, especially as we look at the waterfall or the stream behind this animal. So one step at a time, have some fun, don't overthink it. Let's see what else is going on with some of you. You know, one thing that I want to talk about is the belief piece, because that's come up a couple of times. So I might pull that while I'm looking at that, looking at everything that's going through here. I think emotional, it looks like some of you have like mental or emotional blocks too. So maybe a combination of all of these. So, all right, let's take a moment quickly to look at, for those of you, the block is what's sticking in my head. If you're blocked, let's go to like creative and emotional blocks. Okay, and how can you get unblocked? Got it. All right, so there may just be a fear of trying, for fear of failure, which was connected to the Ten of Swords, which we saw today. So definitely don't be afraid to try something new. Putting yourself in a situation where you feel safe and encouraged so people won't laugh at you or don't shoot down your ideas is really important. There were a lot of things that helped me quit my corporate job, but there was a moment in a meeting where every idea that I presented was shot down. And I thought to myself, I don't really want to be at a place where no one wants to listen, or everything that I'm said is like everything that I say is ridiculed. And I just thought, this isn't it anymore. And that was helpful because I didn't feel safe to contribute. So if someone is constantly saying no or making fun of you or making you feel less than or teasing you, find a different group, find a different place, because you have a lot to offer, just not there, because they're pushing you away. That is meant to be a repellent energy. And that's what this card is about. Take a step back, Feel free to step in a new direction. Explore the possibilities. Look beyond where you're at. Now, also for blocks, sometimes I write better if I'm not here in an office area. Well, I say office, it's my apartment, but like not in my little nook where I do all the work. So I either need to go to a different part of my small apartment or go somewhere else to work. So changing the environment can help. You might be overdue for a move too. And just taking one step at a time without feeling like it's an entire mountain that you have to deal with. Specifically, like, what's the next step for everybody that's watching today? All right, we're gonna clear the table because we've got too many cards. All right, so we'll use a different deck now. What's the next step? Okay, so we had a lot of High Priestess energy. This card was reversed. And Magician energy. Creation. Some of you are just sitting on something and not moving forward with it. So in the week ahead, I would encourage everybody to decide. We had all those cards about like getting a direction, all of that. But decide, I want to do this, and this is how I'm going to do it, and this is when I'm going to do it, and really start to set it into motion. Know that you are a creative person, that you do have insights, that you can transmute something if you desire, if you're ready to do so. Okay? I had someone in the comments saying that it feels like I was putting pressure. I'm like, no, I think when I say if you're ready, it's not to push you, it's to say when you're ready. But it is a caveat on some of these things. I can't make you do things. Guides can't make you do things. You have to get ready. And when you're ready, you can do it. There's no pressure. It's just sort of saying like this does require a certain level of commitment. I had a yoga teacher once that kind of was joking about a student that said, I'm doing all these meditation mantras. I keep sitting on my couch all day long and meditating. She's like, honey, what are you doing after you meditate? He's like, I just meditate. She's like, that's only part of it. You have to then go into the real world and start to show up and do things. So there is a component. Things will not just be handed. That's why the ace, like I said, all of the aces in Rider-Waite-Smith, they are give, they are take, they are requesting. There's a hand. Sometimes the hand is giving you, sometimes you're reaching for it, sometimes you're shaking hands, but there has to be movement. Otherwise, it's just floating. So when I say that, it is never to put pressure. It is just to remind you that there has to be a light bulb moment or a filament that lights up where you're like, now I'm ready to initiate on that. It's giving you the freedom to decide when. It's actually completely opposite of what was said, but I wanted to clarify that because I thought that's an interesting comment. It's not what I was intending. So when you're ready, if you're ready, and if you're not, then you get to choose something else. I'm only here showing a map. You have the compass, you have the feet, you have the wherewithal to walk through the map. You're the true cartographer, mapping out some. There are parts of the map that haven't been filled in as well. That's a big part of today too, is to fill in the missing pieces to explore. I can highlight the area, but you're going to actually draw in all of the little pieces because you're living your life. I'm just shining a light in corners, helping you see things. And we do this every day, every week, every month. I do a lot of videos here. By the way, thank you for your patience because there is about 50 videos that I do per month. I'm getting us caught up and we will have everything by the end of this week for this month and the next. Then I can breathe a little bit. I'll probably do another 2-month thing so that I have a little bit more room to breathe. And then we can start to do mid-month check-ins and some other things. And I have some projects that I'm working on and a move that's coming up. So I want to give more padding for all of us so that I can see stuff too. All right? Let's go ahead and get ready for the final portion of the reading for today. We're going to do a meditation, and then we'll look at one final question. So I looked at myriad of things today, but I'm sure that you have at least one more personal question, so just hold it, please, and let's meditate. Take a deep breath, let go of anything that you might be holding on to. On the exhale, send it into the planet. Imagine maybe that you're leaning against a tree, hugging a tree perhaps, giving the tree gratitude for the shade, for the oxygen that you're breathing. And here's a really cool thing. Trees are amazing to meditate with because it's a symbiotic relationship. When you exhale, they can absorb that carbon dioxide and make it into oxygen. So your breath is an offering to the tree. So you can just exhale with gratitude. The tree can ground the energy and send it into the planet. and use all of that energy also for its own sustenance. So if you ever need to meditate and you have some heavy feelings, go hug a tree, sit by a tree, lean on that, and ground yourself. Nature is very symbiotic as well. Those deep breaths that you're taking are feeding the trees, the flowers, the grass. So get outside today, breathe some fresh air, and offer that to the planet, and let go of stuff. But in your own mind's eye, we can do a little of that as well. I always mention that circle of light. I'd actually like you to take a moment to create it. You can do a halo around your body, or you can imagine that you're tracing it into the dirt around you. And know that that is a boundary across which nothing you don't want can cross. So you are protected. So I'd like you to feel that sense that that circle can follow you through your days, through your nights, that you have protection always in all directions. Let's set into motion something positive. Imagine that you are coming out of a cocoon or chrysalis, that your wings are already outstretched, and the week ahead of you is just a matter of a soft landing. So imagine that today is about letting those wings take flight, and see the day of the week that you want to make a soft landing, like a butterfly, gently touching ground with minimal impact, minimal friction. This week, it can happen with ease. Tell the universe, I'm ready for things to get easier. I am ready for things to not require so much work, and something this week is going to click magically. Okay? Take a couple of deep breaths. Feel yourself making that soft landing. On the next natural exhale, I want you to focus on a final question that you have for me. I want to see, maybe I'll use it. Oh, I'll just use this deck. Okay. So, if you asked a yes or a no, this is a yes exclamation part. We have the exclamation mark, rather, yes. King of Wands coming through, basically saying this is a week to own it, to do it, to really move forward with it. The only thing with kings is they're a little bit passive. They expect things to come to them, and one of the big parts of this week was the willingness or the readiness to roll up your sleeves. Really good leaders take a break intermittently from administrative work and connect with others. So in your own life, planning is part of it, but the doing is the most important part of it, I would argue. And this is a week where you really want to make sure that you're doing a little bit of both. Ideation, intuition, and inspiration, also very intrinsic to King of Wands. Not rinsing and repeating. This is not a week to do that. That would be more like King of Pentacles. It's more secure, grounded, and safe. But Wands is imaginative. Wands pushes the limits and explores. So give yourself a chance to do that this week. Okay? All right. That was a fun reading. I like it when we change it up a little bit. I think it was whatever needed to come through came through. And I felt that it was real without feeling too harsh, and that was the goal. So hopefully you liked it. If you did, you can show a vote of confidence by hitting the thumbs up. You can only do it once in a video, but thank you for doing that. If you've never subscribed, feel free to do so. It's free. We're close to a milestone. So close. I'd love to hit it before the end of the year. We'll do something fun for that milestone. Thank you in advance. You can give me a follow on social media so you never miss out on any posts here. You can also give back, and I'll be thanking people in just a moment here for super stickers, super chats, and memberships. Say that 5 times fast. You can also follow me, or you can go to my website if you need additional news and information about me. And I just like to say thank you very much. We're going to take a couple moments of here to express some gratitude. Let me see. I think I gave away all of my memberships for this month, but let me just double check. If I have any to give, I will. Otherwise, we'll do one next week. But let me just double check here. Membership gifting. Yeah, we're done for this week, unfortunately. But next week, I can gift a new one. Okay. So let's take a couple moments here and acknowledge everybody that was able to give back today. And some of the anniversaries that were celebrated. So Raven, thanks for kicking things off by giving 5 memberships. I appreciate you, and I see that. Linda, thank you so much for all that you do showing up here as well. I appreciate it. Claude or Cloud, thank you. Bonnie, much appreciation. Sharon, you gifted a membership. Thank you for doing that. Jeannie, good to see you again. Thank you for your contribution. Believe in Magic, thanks for extending the membership to a lucky subscriber here. Amitabha, thank you for leaning into the fun. I'm glad that that resonated. Yolanda, thank you for your kindness. We have a couple of anniversaries here for 44 months. Get out of town. We have Lorna Smith. Thank you for all of that time that you spent here. I appreciate it. It's good to see you again. Jan, and I know many of you have actually watched for much longer, but I didn't always have membership, so I'm acknowledging that too. Jan, thank you for 29 months of membership. You're the best too. Lisa and also Monica, thank you very much for participating. And I think it was Lisa's 5th super it mentioned there. So thanks for frequently giving back and participating. Very kind of you. All right, let me see if I can see a little bit more in the membership tab. I'll try to welcome all of the members, including the new ones, quickly. Sometimes I can do it, but not always. But let's see here. Okay, see your members, and let me just limit how many I'm seeing, and I'll do my best to welcome everybody that's joined or rejoined. Okay, so we have Wooly Maple, Delaney, Aaron, Allison, Scott, Unknown, Billy, Laura, and I think that's everybody that might have been welcomed as new, in addition to, yeah, because nobody really joined today. So welcome to all those new members. And then I think I got all the super stickers, but just double checking that I didn't have one slip through. But Monica, Lisa, Yolanda, Amitabha, Jeannie, Bonnie, Cloud, and Linda. Got it all. All right, guys, thank you so much. Dakota's off this week again, so I'm doing double duty, and I appreciate everyone for behaving while he was out of town. Thank you, Sarah, and Light and Fluffy as well. I just saw those pop in. All right, so I am going to be busy today. I'm going to try to get 2 more done today, and then 3 on Monday, 3 on Tuesday to get all of the monthlies out. I'm doing a new format, 2 months at a time. We'll have everything for this month and the month after. We can all take a deep breath and enjoy, and then we'll see what the next month brings. From my heart to yours, wishing you all the best. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again this time next week. Apollo's in the other room, so we're going to let him be. Wishing you guys all the best. Thank you for being amazing. Take care.